Well, this is recorded right in front of this immigration center in Grotniki near Łódź. Pay attention to the path which is leading to the houses. This is exactly on the opposite side of this immigration center. That's what I will be talking about also in this video. I'm gonna say also because the main subject are actually owners of this property here.
Okay, my friends. This is gonna be used just yet as another proof of MKUltra. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna explain few really interesting facts which we can learn from. It's something I have learned really fast, and it's something that hunted me for quite some time. Made my life in United States of America shitty, actually. It really was the screw that was missing in the whole story to a lot of Polish people, because somehow they couldn't understand really what's going on with me. Many of the Polish people, it was just they had a hard time to understand me, according to the stories from other Poles also. And so this video should definitely clarify those types of issues. And of course, this is a proof of MKUltra. This is MKUltra proof. This is what exactly I'm going to use one for. Unfortunately, this story of owner of this location here, of this immigration center here, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because these are really nice people. These are people that got to know me. Basically, definitely the first people once we were transferred to this location, sometimes I believe in 2003. From the location I have pointed out that was next to the lake. People who were interested in this case, people who are interested in me personally. The owner itself, a gentleman, the owner. And that's why I don't, the only thing I can say is I held nice people, really nice people is what they are. Really sweet people. Sweet family is what they are. Due to circumstances of the politicians, of the degree, of the level of the politicians involved in this case, not only from the Russian side. Today we have a Russian agent inside of the White House. They really couldn't do absolutely anything about it because of the stuff like this, because of situation as it was. These people couldn't do more for me than what they did, and in fact I'd like to thank them for what they have supplied me with, so I can use this as a proof, of course under MKUltra, that in fact I was here. I know not only owners here, I know the state people, the employees of the bureau, I know the people, the girls that were here, I know the male. I can give you the whole story, the whole lot of information I can give just as I have stated. I know the employees that worked on this property already since 2005, 2006. One of the first people that were here, how they became employees and so on. A lot is pretty much, the whole thing is almost that I know. I'm sure there is some stuff that I don't know, but there's also a lot of stuff that I'm not gonna say but I know about. Because the idea is not to make people trouble, the idea is to help people here unless people have made an issues for themselves and no one else other than themselves, with even idea to exploit them in the future. That kind of people I don't really give a damn about. That stuff is still, unfortunately, it's going to be included in this story. That's why I said the two things are completely separate. Of course, what I have in my mind is a little road which I have seen leads to the house. Is located right in front of this property. That's nothing related to this place here. It's got nothing to do with this thing here. Those are other people involved in completely other issues, and these are completely other people, again, that should be seen from totally other perspective. I should say from my point of view, okay? I don't know about other points of view, but from my point of view, this is the way it's gonna be. It's like this, basically. The owner, a gentleman, expressed deep interest for me from very beginning, and have somewhat identified himself with me because of quite similar life patterns. He did share some life in Germany. Was not very pleased with authorities here. This is an older gentleman. This is not a young gentleman. This is an older gentleman. I'm not going to go into age issues, but he's older than myself. Have gone through some hardship like this in life, have certain issues and so on. I don't have anything bad to say about this gentleman. This gentleman was just out there, always on my side, trying to help me out. Okay. Now, what's this important? This maybe one of the best videos that I have produced so far would be basically understanding of my gesture, previous gesture, that once you're subject to MKUltra, that you have, from my point of view, you have absolutely every right to behave in whichever way in order to preserve your dignity, because I think that dignity is the core issue of MKUltra. I think that dignity is basically what is hurt the most, and through the dignity, the fear, less worthiness of the person, depression, and all other stuff is injected into the person, I would say. Okay, and so, you know, when it comes to issues such as dignity, you know, that you're demoralized, that you're humiliated in front of other people, I personally myself, and I would say I totally would agree if any other person would dare to do something like this, I have humiliated my adversaries in absolutely every possible way. Whatever was out there I could possibly use to humiliate people under MKUltra, when I was subject to MKUltra, I would not even think twice. If I could only hurt your feelings as much as possible, because this is what they were doing all along. This was the core principle of this MKUltra, was basically to break me psychologically to the point that I would just completely fall apart. Now, instead of that, I think my skin just grew thicker and thicker and thicker, and just somehow didn't break, not even when I was subjected to psychiatric torture over there in Slovenia. Terror, constant terror, anything they would do, it just produced exactly the opposite of what they wanted to do. So, you know, in a way, it was just counterproductive for my Russian, Moscovian, and Belgradian adversaries, which I hope sincerely will disappear pretty soon from the scene, because people in Serbia and Russia are waking up. They can see what's going on, really, that the politics like this, even war against brotherly nations, brother against brother, this is no longer relevant in the West. There's no such thing in the US. French, German, British, Scandinavians, they work together in one office, helping one another, sharing with one another everything they possibly can share. This is only happening here with us, between the Slavic nations, the stuff like this, okay? So that's also important to accent, okay? So there's no apology here from my side for anything anyone possibly could feel about they are entitled to. And let's go to the business. First, what I'm going to do, I'm going to play you a tape. On the tape is a recorded lady owner of this facility here, who got a little bit upset with me because she knew I'm gonna go and record her son. Since the gentleman was not here oftentimes, and I have advantage that day, it was Easter, and the sirens went off. It's also why you can't hear him saying, you know, part of the deal. I am. You know, basically I did recognize him. I saw him maybe here, maybe he was here once, something like this. Other than that, I have not seen him at all. And if I would see him, it would be like something like this, like where you see that car or something like this. I don't. One time, I think actually he was inside something I was just not paying attention to. Okay, this time, however, I did, because I'm about to go absolutely after everything. Everything I can use at my advantage, whatever. Because this is what Mr. Donald Trump have created, and this is some separate video I have to dedicate this issue to as well. This also shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't be the case that, you know, the stuff that's happening actually is happening. You know, that I am asking people questions, and people are quite, in certain cases, are happy to come forward with, in some other cases not so happy to come and confirm and so on, which is totally understandable. Okay, the gentleman, before I go into these issues, of course, just the son of the owner was one of the first people that, you know, I got to know. Actually, he got to know me, and everything was nice, everything was wonderful, till one day, you know, he left to, I believe this is what it was, Lodge University. I was attending this Lodge University, and the first thing that came to my mind was this was just one of the babes that they use that, you know, give me first an idea, first impression, and got to my head. Why this? Because as a male, when you're subject to MKUltra like this, what got my attention basically were like male things, okay, like a male good-looking clothing or watches. Females were number one thing that spurred my interest, of course. You know, the stuff like this. I was not in a porcelain stores, and I was not in a, you know, in a boring stuff, you know, lady makeup stores and stuff like that. I'm not saying anything bad, please don't get me wrong. We should definitely pay attention to the ladies, to their needs, absolutely. Very much looking forward to that. But when you're subject to MKUltra, when you're young, this is not what you're, you know, what you're looking to, you know, to go into the stores like that. And so what got my attention in respect to his girlfriend back then, and, you know, you go back now, way back in time, was that she was in the kitchen, and this was a good-looking girl. She worked in the kitchen, and half was interested, like expressed like an interest in me under MKUltra, and, you know, you see a good-looking babe, and the next thing you see, again, you know, as a unbreakable spirit of mine as this, maybe a chance, you know, this is just the way it is. This is just a normal males, how basically we see things is, okay. And so the real story, what this was, the first idea of the owners was basically to get, you know, impression, basically get impression about what exactly do I think about, how do I see these things as. how do I view this thing? So this was the first thing they wanted to get an idea what I think about her. Okay, so one of the things that people, this was new stuff, this MKUltra here for the Eastern Europe. It was like a specialty. It was like I'm not gonna say only free excitement. The Americans were the one, they basically hypnotized Eastern Europeans into idea that, you know, through MKUltra the person is gonna actually give you a real idea, evaluation on how he sees you, because they needed to have their business done. And Eastern Europeans bought this thing, they have bitten into it, and you got a free entertainment with adult individual like this. And so they play with it, and they wanted to get impression about it. And you know, she was just good looking, I like it. And they were messing with me that she's gonna be my girlfriend and this and that. And pretty much, I am sorry about that, but as far as my male nature is, the memory can go. Basically, this is what, you know, as far as it goes, this is how it functions. True was not so exciting that this was actually his girlfriend that he met at university in Lodz. That's about 20 kilometers from here, something like this. This was not what really excited me, and once I, you know, it was like that she's interested in him, and then MKUltra, you don't grasp much. I'm gonna explain to you in continuation, because in a way, these people here are not related to other people right there across the street. They got nothing to do with it. But in a way, the whole thing does relate and does explain a lot of issues. And basically, the next thing, you see it, I felt like, because of many other situations I have experienced already before, this was not the first situation like this that they were massing and trying to find out, see how I view them and this and that. I started to mess with her instead, that, you know, with like discriminatory kind of a racist issues. Then it was like owner's son was hurt normally, really nice person, especially because he liked me and everything. But you know, under MKUltra, this is basically, it's pretty brutal. This is the way it is. The next thing, I started to insult him as well. Okay, then the next thing, you see, the mom got pissed off with me, rightfully, because, you know, this was just completely off track, the stuff I did, stuff that I have told them. It was all kinds of stuff. I came up with just about everything possible I possibly could came with. And the good thing about all this was, this is a good thing actually. Good thing is, interesting is, a good thing is that the owner, the man who would stand behind me absolutely all the way, and actually liked me for my views, became hurt himself, because I started to insult now his son with discriminatory racist issues that hurt him as a father. And before, not before, you know, finally I should say, he got into my face and he was like, you know, there's nothing I can do about this stuff anymore, because of the stuff you said, and to my son and my wife is like this, and you created this and that. And so, you know, fortunately, I'm saying, because I paid the full price, but the good thing was that I probably did have a little impact on his personal views about everything, and that probably did contribute to a little better quality in his life, I think. Pretty much that would be the story of these people. These people, really nice, good people. It was some other stuff, but I still claim they had no choice. They just did whatever they had to do to get by. No hard feelings for these people. The least hard feelings is what I have. No hard feelings for them whatsoever. I just want to thank them despite everything I have gone through. How much do owners want to hear this? I don't really know, and I don't really care. That's all I can do for them. This kind of news, that despite everything, I still see them in a positive light, might come to them as a surprising news, but more than anything, I'm a person that understands the circumstances that individuals have found themselves in, and this is according to what I judge people. These people had no control over absolutely anything in respect to my situation. They had to comply with things whether they like it or not, or else, I should say. Simple as this. It also was the same with some workers and stuff like that. Applies the same view. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play you an audio. You can hear this alarm, you can hear that. Let me just say that once, I believe, and this is exactly why I believe, it was once, I'm pretty sure it was not a dream, I'm pretty sure this was the case. We were in a city known as Katowice, more precisely in a city known as Gliwice, which is kind of a part of Katowice, a little bit smaller town on the left side of Katowice. Let me just show you a little map so you can get an impression, so you can get an idea about it. Okay, I'm sure you can see it. It's toward the bottom. It says Katowice, not too far. It's somewhere between Krakow and Częstochowa. Katowice, you can see it, and then on the left side you're gonna have Gliwice, right? I believe that this is actually related to what became spouse of his son, who was also present here on this Easter Sunday. I believe this is where she is from, but again, this is about the same kind of shot as the one with refugees over there from the Middle East. I have hesitated big time about coming up with this thing, but I know it was about Katowice, Gliwice. Let me just explain some other issue. I was in many cities in Poland. They had me in many cities in Poland. There is a whole dozen of the cities where I was in the Poland. I was not only in Warsaw, in Łódź area. I was on many other locations. They had me in Poland in 2004, 2005, 2006, and before this, and afterwards too, Lublin and so on. I was on many locations, Biela Podlaska and so on. So I believe that her case pertains to the city known as Katowice, Gliwice, which if you would go like this on a map, and you can see, just think about, I'm about 20 kilometers from Łódź. You can see that Katowice is about 200 kilometers from Łódź. Is this her city? For sure, for 100%. Don't kill me, okay? I am just trying to do my best. This is as far as my memory can go, evolves about a lady whom I have barely ever seen. Barely have I afterwards even seen son. Once the two got together, they established totally separate life for themselves. This is the way it was, and it's still the way it is. So this is not an easy issue to just go about and just say ta-ta-tam. I remember it was something about this stuff. I remember that we were in Katowice. I remember we would go through the cities, through the Częstochowa, and then there is another city that you cannot see on the map. I remember this stuff, and I was told that on the map where we are and this and that. People try to help me out best of their abilities. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to play with this audio recording. I am not going to go all the way to the audio recording. I can tell you I got quite cozy with this son's owner. Not only have I recognized him, he got to see me. But we did exchange few words in continuation, but I don't have a time to go and play the whole 18 minutes of this audio, okay? So what I'm gonna play right now is gonna be about maybe 3 minutes long, that's all. Then I'm gonna go to the second issue that relates to this type of stuff. Is really important, very important for me to clarify, that relates to that little path, that little road that led to those houses right there across this immigration center. Children love it, naturally. I'm inside the kitchen. Hello, good day. Okay, I'm sorry that she was not too happy about. I really apologize for all the troubles I have caused under MKULTRA. This really was not my view. I think that your daughter-in-law is exceptionally good looking, and you have a beautiful son too. Congratulations. And your prediction about this also was correct. Yes, I do have to unfortunately use this as a proof to save my bare skin from Mr. Donald Trump, who screwed me up, who screwed my life up completely. I wouldn't be doing this stuff if this wasn't the case, as you all know. Yes, I, as gentleman, if he is her owner's son and so on and so forth, and he gives me a confirmation which you clearly cannot hear because it's what can I say, but you're going to hear him in continuation because I'm going to include this entire 18-minute long audio at the end of this video clip, so you can go over and you can hear that I actually speak with him, get cozy. I'm definitely using the ultra proof. She eventually confirms me by saying that that she already know what I'm gonna do, that I'm gonna just go and that I am recording the conversation, then I put this on the internet. So thank you very much for this prediction. Yes, this is actually what did happen now. I don't have anything else to say in respect to that. If the lady is from Gliwice, actually Katowice, Gliwice even, and I zoom myself into Gliwice, then this is like exceptional, yet another exceptional proof. Going through this stuff I deem to be completely unnecessary, but for the sake of Donald Trump's entertainment of Central Intelligence Agency, we will continue with this BS that should never even happen. This should not be the case. What I do should never happen. This should not be the case. But I guess that some people want it this way, and so we will continue by do it this way. We go basically backwards, rather than to do the stuff that it should be done. We do it backwards now. So let's do it like that, okay? That pretty much is it. The rest of the conversation, actually entire audio, it's going to be included at the end of this video clip. Now let's go to the issue across the street. This is really important for me, much more important than a free ride I got the other day from the lady who in fact was the number one, the first one that I met, a girl about the same age as I am, who lives in one of those houses right there. Never spoken with her other than once. She stopped me and with her son on her way to Zgierz. We went to Zgierz. She took the son to the school. Her father died, passed away. They were preparing themselves for the funeral. And she kind of gave me an idea about age of her son. And about pretty much everything else, by not saying, absolutely not saying, because nobody dares to say absolutely anything. But just by seeing her, reminding me who she is, where she is, seeing her son, the only thing that happened was zzz, and the movie turned around and we were already there. And that's connected also then with, you know, this is how memory basically works with other people around and so on. And so that stuff is helpful. But I got to say that she didn't do this because she would be like, you know, stimulated, interested in helping me, unless she changed a lot. How much did she changed? I do not know. What matters to me, however, is the stuff that have a big time impact on my life after meeting her. Stuff that was big time misinterpreted. This is the two things that are very, very related. And it was like this. It also happened before too. Not quite like this. Not quite like this, not. This was the first one. And this also caused a friction between me and Donald Trump, big one. The lady, the first one that like expressed like, you know, somebody like this comes in town and it's like, it would be like, he's mine, I'm interested in him, he likes me, he's mine, he's mine, he's mine. It was the number one. It was other girls that they used, and it always was the same result. It always was the same result. Try to get my view on them, if they're hot or not, and then bye-bye. Basically, that's what it was. They would go with the MKULTRA staff members. With her, however, it was a little bit more specific. It was a little bit, if I go in details, it was like, as the first she was in this place here, the number one, maybe in 2003, if not even before, that she is interested in me, that I am interested in her. She's sure she was beautiful. And it's kind of a, that's why I do it. I'm using this to explain people that this was just not the case with me. It was just not the case that what they might have been taught, misinterpreted how they saw things. This just really was not the case. That's why some people, I cannot get you, I cannot understand, but why this and that, okay? What happened was, one of the MKULTRA staff members got her attention, and I was, as much as I was, you know, under MKULTRA, you're incapacitated to act like free human being, basically prohibited from engaging in a normal life with the people where I was. You know, you can only wish for the stuff they got. and that's okay with me, however, did not only forget about her interest in me, which she expressed, like that the two of us, this and that. She in fact found the way out of this non-existing relationship, basically, because MKUltra relationship, this is not any relationship in my opinion. This is just a brainwash under which you see things as you are brainwashed to see them as, not as you would see actually things as in normal world, is how I see things as. Found a way out by obtaining an excuse on behalf of MKUltra staff member. She felt that what she is doing is actually inappropriate, basically getting involved with him, and that included sexual relationship in front of me. And it would be necessary to find an excuse, an alibi for that matter, which of course would not be her fault for indecent behavior, but in fact it would have to be done in such a way that it would be seen, I would see myself as, you know, if ever, as part of my fault. And so what she did was, she had a neighbor right there, so like maybe house just about maybe 10 meters away, right in front of her house, in which yet another Polish girl was, that also was interested in getting attention from people that actually count. And she was interested in obtaining attention from these Americans, from the people that would pay visit, people who had money, MKUltra staff members and stuff like that. Some of those people had money, if only possible politicians, anything that could get her around closer and closer to this political circle so she could swim out of, you know, I don't know, maybe Grotniki or whatever is this beautiful place for me, but you know, there are all kinds of people, and some people prey on stuff like that. And so this girl would come one morning and would just kind of borrow me, like saying to her, well, you're gonna borrow him to me a little bit, he can go to my place and this and that. And she told me, she said, no, it's not that it's going to be anything between you and me, but you are in a circle of the people that could get me necessary attention I need, and so I'm going to borrow you till I get some attention, till they pay me a little bit attention, and then you can go back to her. And this was actually a legitimate excuse for the girl I have spoken about first, to go and you know, do all kinds of stuff with another MKUltra member, what basically granted me the right to engage in whatever you want to call this, and discriminatory and racist and any kind of behavior you want to call this, because I used everything possible there, anything that possibly could be used to insult her and this violent thug, this MKUltra member who also slapped me. Yeah, he was a violent thug. He was a wimp that she started to complain to him that I insulted her, that how she looked like a Polish and stuff like this, and that he should do something about it. And sure enough, this wimpet went to Donald Trump and caused me a lot of troubles. I was seen by the Polish community then even as a racist, somebody who doesn't like Polish people, that dislikes Polish women and stuff like that. It definitely screwed my life in the United States of America big time, I can tell you that. It made it hard for me in the US. like since 2003, Donald Trump told me like, I don't like you, I don't like the way you see things as, and so on. It really screwed my life big time. This is what you did. And the right I got the other day from you was not related to your concern for me or anything like this. It was more related by, this is what Donald Trump created, a whole pack of people like this that, you know, they could use some money on the side, some help, some assistance, some initiative, maybe some, it helps when you mention basically type of stuff. Her son, I think, I'm not sure exactly how old he is, but he is in a, I think he is in his primary school. He said the story about him evolves. I am not completely certain whether he was like a 1-year-old boy, child, when we got here, something like this, or actually it was that this American staff member would, only when he would come, he would run to her that he actually impregnated her. I have no idea. All through he had family over there on the other side of the ocean. She became his main concern, and he was crazy. He became crazy about coming here. So that's all I gotta say. Exactly contrary, I like Polish women. Truth might sound ugly and awkward sometimes, but for me it's important to clean my name so that somebody lies from the past and the right for one to defend himself or herself when exposed to degradation, to the human degradation, to humiliation under MKUltra, should be preserved for the victims. In fact, these people everybody should have the right to do whatever it takes to preserve his or her dignity. This is a very, very important part of the human being, because we are human beings, because we are not animals. And that's something that cannot be allowed to anyone that would be playing with your dignity in this kind of issues. There is more to this, girls, but I am not gonna say anything about it. There are people that know a lot about it and they are quiet about it, but I think they're quiet about it for completely wrong reasons, because they're not gonna get anything from the people on whose behalf they are quiet about it. That ain't gonna happen. These people are only interested for themselves, and they are protecting something that really is, in my eyes, completely worthless to protect. I was kind of keen to idea that I would even, I was kind of a gesture on MKUltra to mention that feel that kind of a discriminate against, because you didn't get any. You didn't say that too. But I am actually kind of glad I didn't, because basically what goes around comes around, and that's pretty much why I said this way. Thanks for watching this MKUltra video. The girl who was here, the state girl, was already here in 2005, 2006, but I think that she officially commenced sometimes in 2008. It was tough for her and her other lady that worked here. It was really tough for the ladies, because the Rusinskis, the Ruskis, the Putanovichi, the KGBs, the old, they would just believe they have the right to just go to the women and ask them for whatever their needs were. It was a guy that would just walk around and it would be like he needs, because he is by himself and stuff like this. So they moved the gentleman who also was here from the lodge. Is a little bit bigger, stronger guy, and they make this place a little bit more sociable, so the Ruskies calmed down. Because Ruskies, boy, when they were here, they were really like, how can I say, they're uh, their hormones were exploding here, boy. They were exploding. They were extremely fertile here in Poland. And that's how I got. Pretty much I can give you the detail on every state worker that was here with a very high precision. And it also applies to the people that were employed here before. No way anybody can possibly dispute I was not here before, and so I'm using this stuff again also as a proof of MKUltra. Yeah, and since I mentioned the state workers, I am gonna go into some brutal details. I'm gonna try to get stuff done a little bit more in details. In detail, I should say. Oh, we shall see how this is gonna end. There is quite a lot of stuff that needs to be done. Thanks for watching this video, folks. What follows is original audio recording about this. Of course, I claim this to be yet again another MKUltra proof. It's very important proof I was right here at this place. April 29, 2019 it is. Just have spoken with the lady owner and told me that her daughter-in-law is not from Katowice, is not from Gliwice. KGB, I must say, they invested a lot of time on something that will not produce anything positive for their agent inside of the White House. This was just a total fiasco, I think, for the KGB, a waste of energy. And something good for me, because it shows just how much they have invested in it to discredit this case, okay? Mr. Trump. Doesn't matter, really. She, however, did confirm me that the two, in fact, did met on university, at a university. And, as you know, I have suggested myself, I did recognize her son. So you don't come up with stuff like this unless you know what you are exactly talking about. 100% legitimate proof of MKUltra, okay? Another one.
Why was this cluster with the Katowice so important for the Russians? It was important because, well, why would you give the whole account and nothing else but a whole account? I mean, why would you say she is, let's say, from Piotrów Trybunalski, as I think she is? Most likely, I think she's from Piotrów Trybunalski. But why would you say all this stuff and get all this credits for when we can make you say something crazy like, let's say, Katowice? This is how Russians have seen this thing, but why did I leave the clip inside in respect to Katowice? Is because I want the whole thing to be as honest as it should be. This is number one thing. I don't change anything from my audio recordings. Everything stated here is factual. In fact, I have audio recordings to prove everything stated here. It's authentic. And the second thing is, just as a case was with a state worker from Lublin, in Katowice, Gliwice where I was with these Russians under MKUltra, we also were video recorded. There also is documentation on that subject. So the question here only remains on how much this Polish intelligence and some other intelligence also are interested in coming forward with. That someone I have gestured about actually is a Central Intelligence Agency. Now, am I certain that she is from Piotrów Trybunalski? No, I'm not completely certain, but I'm quite certain. I think this is the case. I did not ask her about that. But the facts which I have used to point out, and I got these exclusive confirmations from the lady owner, from her son, yeah, most definitely are 100% factual proof, okay? So I don't know if this is going to be used just for like a lie, that it's going to be for so-called negotiations in the background. This is a bullshit. Russians and Americans had negotiations going already for a very, very long time before I even got involved in this thing here, okay? That doesn't do anything for me, and it doesn't do anything for the safety of American citizens, and it doesn't do anything for the safety of the Polish people that are subjected inside of the Poland to this type of practices. So what I want to see are some actions, or if not, we're going to hold SIA for the balls too, because I know the people that were involved in it, and I know what these people have promised me they would do in respect to this case. So what I want to see are some actions, and if not, I'm going to go forward and I'm going to start talking about Central Intelligence Agency as well. This thing went on without my permission, and if nothing is going to be done about it, then I have to take some steps in respect to revealing also the background of the CIA's involvement in this thing.
Dobrze to jest. Pan, coś dobrze to jest. Co mamy to jest? Jest jeszcze syn, nie? Przepraszam? Jeszcze raz. Nie jest jeszcze syn, Pani Małgorzata, nie?
A kto się pyta o to? No, to dziecko pyta. Co to jest? No to jest? Dlaczego?
Ja muszę...
A kiedy w internecie na przykład, tak?
A czasem może to znać.
No, gdybyś miał pisał to w internecie, na przykład u Pani Małgorzaty syn, synowa.
Synowa nie. Dobrze, dobrze. Nie ma wiedzieć was. Dzień dobry.
Pani Małgorzata. Widziałem cię? Postawiłam na makaron.
Okej, dziękuję. A może proszę też laboratorium na śmiecie? Proszę, dziękuję. Dziękuję. Tak, ja jestem Poliakiem, a? Dobrze, dobrze. A kim ty jest? A, wy sami mówili, to ja nie jestem Poliakiem. No tak. Dobrze, dobrze. Może być. A mais você? Ładnie to, ja. Ładnie. Gotowe kolacje i chodzi jakieś wszystko. Wesołych świąt. I będzie na łóżce. Tak. Gdzie był wczoraj tu. Może być też jeszcze raz. Tak. Angina, ale to śmiejecie, a? To jest woda. Pieniądze. A to jest normalny jest, to jest normalny obiad. Niczego specjalnego, no i tak хорошо jest. Zresztą, tam jest wieczór, tam wnuczki, syn, żona jego. Piękna familia. A? Dziękuję. to you. It's serious.